In this week's episode, we're talking about the importance of building a strong personal style and brand image. Our special guest will share how she blends the two for seamless alignment. Now, let's get into this style conversation. Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Style Studio Conversations podcast community. I'm your host, Monique Ross, style expert, fashion buyer, and your style coach. The goal of Style Studio Conversations podcast is to have authentic conversations that inspire and empower women to share experiences, tips, and resources that allow you to tap into your highest potential of personal style and confidence. And most importantly, build a community where I can serve and impact the lives of more women just like you. So stay locked in so that you can tune in to Style Studio Conversations. Welcome back, listeners. I'm so excited to introduce our special guest, Michelle McKinney. Michelle is a sought-after consultant, coach, and acclaimed speaker and founder of Dreams Unleashed. Proclaimed the Dream Architect, Michelle is masterful at supporting individuals through the process of delving deep into their most meaningful dreams and equipping them with the motivation, personal accountability tools, and actionable plans to make their God-given dreams their realities. Her words and work have inspired countless women, men, and children to prioritize themselves, shift their lives, and give life to their dreams, big and small, that they didn't believe were possible. For more than 2 decades, Michelle has been an invaluable asset to some of the world's most recognized companies, such as American Express, Starbucks, and the Department of Defense, specifically supporting high-level executives to expand their impact as leaders and etch their legacies. This work is not only what Michelle does, it's who she is. From visualization to walking out her God-sized faith, she's made growth and achievement a lifestyle. Michelle is a woman who wins and has devoted her life to helping others do the same while balancing the joy and demands of various life roles, including being a mom of 3 incredible human beings. Now, welcome our special guest, Michelle McKinney. Welcome, Michelle McKinney, to Style Studio Conversations, where today we're talking about everything personal brand image and how you really weave that into your personal style.
I love it. I'm excited.
Me too. So, as I said before, you spend most of your time coaching people to really achieve their dreams, and you do a lot of public speaking. And one thing I want you to kind of share with our listeners is share your journey on how you built your personal style and
Mhm.
brand image and
Yeah.
what that looked like for you as you were developing your brand, how you weave the two when you show up for speaking engagements. Like,
Mhm.
what was that journey for you?
Yeah. You know what? So I was thinking about this, right? About my life and kind of like how far life goes back. And even when I'm coaching, whenever I'm talking to people about what is your purpose and why are you here, I always take them more often than not, rather, I take them back to childhood. And
Mhm.
interestingly enough, I think my style and even brand journey started in childhood, but not like when I was like a little, like, not like 7 or 8, but probably more so high school, middle school. And my grandmother lived with us. My grandfather had passed away. My grandmother moved in with the family. And my grandmother was stylish, right?
I love
And
it.
so she would like, I would go in her room. And for my grandmother, I also learned the importance of self care because my grandmother would be in her room and she'd paint her nails. She used the same polish, child. It was like a L'Oreal taupe color, right? And that was her polish. And so she would take time painting her nails. She would do her skincare, and I would go in there and just like look at her. And then she would invite me into that process, right? In terms of self care, but then also just watching her style. And so to the point where I'd be like, Grandma, can I wear that sweater? Can I wear that blazer? Right. And so I began incorporating her pieces into what I wore. And the key thing that my grandmother always spoke to me, probably like other, grandmothers and grandfathers or whoever, is, you know, buy for quality, not for quantity, right?
Mm,
Invest in your pieces, because if you invest in your pieces, then you'll have them for a long time. And investing doesn't mean you got to spend a whole lot of money, but look at the quality of it. And in terms of your style, will you be able to wear this over a period of time? And so I got that lesson very early on. And during that time in high school, I went to Oxon Hill High School in Oxon Hill, Maryland.
I love
And,
that.
the great thing I loved about school then, that I feel like they've taken a lot of it out of school now, is I was in home economics. And in home economics,
I felt you saying that. Like, that's where I first learned how to sew, like, to really
exactly.
be creative and to work with fabrics and,
Hmm.
and also just knowing how to fix things on my own, like a button or
Hmm.
sewing or stitching. Okay, I'm gonna let you finish, but
Uh-uh.
they need to bring it back
Yes.
because those like life skills and it really allows you to kind of do for yourself to really have
Hmm.
more intention behind like your pieces, your care of your garments,
Hmm.
and to really think outside of the box sometimes when you're selecting different items. Oh, like what could I do differently? Sometimes I'll take a dress for a client and people think they have to like wear things off the rack. I'm like, no, we're going to change these buttons. We do not have to keep this,
Hmm.
to really set it off. But keep going. I didn't want to interrupt, but home
Mm-mm.
ec was where
Mm-mm.
it was.
Everything. No,
Um,
let's keep this dialogue. I love it, a good
okay.
dialogue, a back and forth.
Yes.
Like my girlfriend say, we'll have many tabs open, so it's all good. But but during that time, and I think that's the even the value of education, because
Yeah.
that was, I'll age myself, and I'm cool with aging myself. That was back in the 1990s, right?
Yeah.
And from that time, my teacher, her name was Norma Hetrick. I remember my
I
home
love that.
economics teacher because it was so impactful. And so for 4 years, I took sewing and I took fashion, and we did a fashion show. We had to make our garments and all of that. And so then that led me into, I thought I was going to go to college for accounting, because I was taking an accounting class. And I was like, this is too, for me, I was like, this is too square at the time, because back then it was like, if you had an accounting major, if you were an accounting major, it was like you went to companies like KPMG, Marwick, and things like that. And I was like, I'm gonna be wearing a gray suit, and that is just so not me. I need something that's like a little more boom, boom, boom. And I
Yeah,
was at Drexel
vibrant.
University, and they had a fashion merchandising program. And so I was like, let me look into this whole fashion design and merchandising program, and let me see if that's what I love. And I did. And being, of course, at an engineering school like Drexel, you're not going to get into fashion in the way that you want to. So I applied to Fashion Institute of Technology, and I ended up transferring to FIT and took on um, fashion merchandising, because I wasn't a designer girl. I knew that, but I'm a business girl. I love the business of fashion, right?
I never knew that about you.
I did, yes. So I went to FIT, and I only stayed a year because I was also taking care of myself. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to go back into the workforce. So I came back home, and I will say, and I've shared this online before, I don't live life with many regrets. There are very, very few. I could probably count maybe one or two, maybe. And one of my only regrets that I said I'm still going to, at some point, I don't know how, go back, because I've talked to FIT about this, is I still want to go back to FIT just to finish the merchandising degree. I don't know what I will do. I don't know how God will lead me with it, but it's one undone thing that I do want to do. So either which way, I left FIT and I started working at Victoria's Secret in Tyson's Corner. Girl, I was taking like a bus on buses just to get to that job,
Wow.
but I learned so much working at Victoria's Secret, steaming the pieces and watching them fashion shows in that store. Like I could hear in my head, da 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 da. Like that was like so
Secret.
I'm at Victoria's Secret, and then I leave and I end up going into the corporate space. And so that's kind of where my journey started. So I say all that to say that my personal brand and my personal style started in childhood, very early on. And while it has evolved, it honestly hasn't gone off too far because I feel like even still, I stay in that space of that wisdom that my grandmother gave me in terms of investing in good pieces. So for me, for each person, you will interpret that for what that means for you, right? And what feels good for you. For me, what that means is that investing in good pieces doesn't mean that I'm going to spend $1,000. That's just me. That's just who I am, and just the financial, my financial life. Maybe as my financial life grows, maybe that changes. I don't know, but I spend on things that I love. That's my rule. Is that I can't just like it to bring it home, and that's just not about fashion pieces. That's about anything I bring into my home. I have to love it. On a scale of 1 to 10, it's got to be an 8 to 10. If it's a 7 or 6, or I'm selling for something, and that's not just in pieces, that's in opportunities, that's in different things. I don't want to settle in my life. And so when it comes to my personal style and the person and the brand itself, the business brand and my personal brand, I look at things of, is this true to who I am? Does this really evoke, when I think about the words that would describe my personal brand and my professional brand, does it really line up with those things? And so that's kind of how I look at how all of this has kind of evolved to some degree.
That's a word and a lesson for all to really think about. And that's what I teach. Well, that's what I coach to with my
Yeah.
clients, and when I'm helping them really identify like their brand image, but really
Hmm.
connecting their personal style to their brand image, because you don't want to feel like you're showing up,
Yeah.
just to show up. You want to show up for you, and you want to show up for those who are you're looking to impact, influence. And if you don't love it, like, we can't just
Mm-mm.
be liking things, okay? We need to
Mm-mm.
love it, because who wants to buy something that's going to sit in their closet and then, just collect dust, versus or liking it, wearing it one time and never reaching for it again.
Right.
And
Hmm.
also, tell us, what are some of the things you look for in pieces? Is it more so fabrication? Is
Hmm.
it color? Is it uniqueness? Like, what are your top
Yeah.
things and I want to know what would you say, like, what are one of your most valuable pieces that you currently have?
Ooh. Oh my gosh, that's such a hard one. Okay.
Since I know.
So for me, as you shared earlier, because I speak on stages or in workshops and things like that, right? When I think about my personal brand, typically there are about 3 words that I would use to describe of what I'm looking for when I'm looking at pieces: approachable, edgy, and feminine. Like those are the
Mm,
things that are important to me, because when I'm on a stage, or if I am sharing, or if I'm coaching, or wherever it is, I want people to feel like I can approach her. And so the cut of something is important. I don't want any, like, typically like harsh edges or anything like that, because I think for me anyway, it can evoke well, wait a minute, I don't know how to. I want people to be able to, when you see me, to lean in and feel like I can touch her shoulder, that she feels like that. And I love the feminine nature of things. So feminine slash a little sexy. So which
mm-hmm.
parlays into a little bit of edge. So I like that. So, when I'm looking at pieces, like if I could live in the same uniform, so to speak, on most days, not like a dress up sort of special occasion day, but it would be a modification, for example, of a Canadian tuxedo. So not necessarily the denim jacket, but probably a denim shirt. Like I cannot get enough, like probably a lot of people, I cannot get enough of denim. Like I'm wearing denim
Yes.
right now. I think this is like an All Saints piece, like their denim dress, like camouflage. And so
Yes.
I like, something that can be basic to some degree, but I can add layers of accessories. Like today, I have on
Yes.
one of my girlfriend's brands. Her name is Lorraine West, and she does
Oh,
custom
nice.
pieces out of Brooklyn. She has designed for Beyonce and Jill Scott, just some of the other like great, like incredible Black women, and people and other, women as well.
They're
But
gorgeous.
thank
And
you.
that's your statement. I like.
Right. So I like something that, again, back to the advice of my grandmother, like I can have this piece, this denim camouflage shirt dress for a really long time, and it's made well. And so I can dress it up, I can dress it down. And so, it kind of hits in that space. When I think about like favorite pieces, I am a story person. And so things have meaning to me, right? And I need all of the love languages. I need all of them, right? One of the ones that, has been true for me is receiving gifts, is gifts, right? So I like to
Hmm.
give gifts and I
That's one
love
of
to
mine.
receive. One of yours too, right?
Yes.
So to that point, then Monique, that it's not necessarily about the price of what you bought, it's the
The
thought
thought.
behind it. It means that you were listening. And so recently, my one of my sons, my birthday just came by, and there's this one dress that I have been looking for a year and a half. And it was a piece that I rented from Rent the Runway. It was by Stella Jean. And it's like this pinstripe blue and white, it's almost like a shirt dress to some degree, right? And it had these beautiful embroidered parrots on the shoulder. And it had almost like a balloon sort of a sleeve. So I rented it maybe once or twice. And I'm like, oh, I love that dress so much. But time passed, and I was like, dang, I should have bought it. And I tried to go back to Rent the Runway to get it, and it was no longer in rotation. So I've been looking online on eBay and all the things for this dress. Every once in a while, I would see it in a different size, or I would see it like, and it would have like maybe like a tear or something like that. And for me at the time, we say we all have different price points in terms of what's affordable. So affordability is relative, right? For me at the
Hmm.
time, spending $500 for a dress, it wasn't happening.
Wasn't
I
it?
have bills. I'm a single mom. I had two kids in college. I had my daughter. So spending $400 or $500 for a dress, it just wasn't in the cards. And so, life changes and evolves a little bit, this, that, and the other. And so when my son asked me this past October, what do you want for your birthday? I happened to go online on eBay, and the dress
Was
was
there?
on eBay in my size, the same size that I had
Wow.
rented from Rent the Runway, and it was new with tags. So compared to the other pieces that had been online, this was not a used piece. This was like new with tags. So I was like, I want this dress. And the price was half of the price of what the retail,
Oh,
actually a little bit less than that, I think, right?
that was
Um,
perfect.
Beautiful price. So I didn't feel, any, because I wouldn't have asked my son to do, something crazy like that. He's just starting out his career. And so I said, if you could, this is what I would love. So he was like, all right, but if you can't get that, is there something else that you would want? So I said, yeah, there are these curling irons, which would be fine. And I was content, right? Girl, when that dress showed up in the mail,
Yes. And you know what? I love that he asked you for something else because you just didn't know what you were gonna get. But that dress,
so yes, I just picked it up out the cleaner. So I'm looking forward to wearing that dress. So there are other pieces, but I love pieces in my closet that have a story to them. Like that matters to me.
I love that. And I love that you say that because one of the things with traveling, when I travel, like
Hmm.
my favorite souvenir is like finding like a vintage shop or finding like a little boutique and really
Hmm.
connecting with a piece because then when
Yes.
I go to wear it, I'm like, I was here. Like, it's always so unique but
Yes.
it also is something that you can always wear and remember about your experiences and your
Hmm.
travels. So this conversation is so good. I feel like, we were there for a minute, but it just flowed so well. But I feel like you have so much to share, and I've learned so much more that I didn't even know about you. But what I want you to tell us,
Hmm.
what advice would you give someone just starting to build like their personal style and brand image? And more so from a brand image perspective, I know
Hmm.
you've done photo shoots in the past and you coach women, men, children to really show up as themselves and really chase
Hmm.
their dreams. So what advice would you share with someone building their brand, going into that photo shoot and showing up, but
Yeah.
so that they really connect the two.
I love that, because I think you said a part of it already. It is be you, be who you are. Because, we were talking about this before in terms of pieces that you love, is that, in my opinion, you don't want to look like the clothes are wearing you. You want to feel and look like it is a part of your whole aura, right? So it's not about, to me, being matchy matchy, where, people say, well, does this go with this? Well, what do you think? Do you think it goes with that?
How do
Because
you
it's
feel?
exactly. And how do you wear it, right? Because if you feel good, you like the way you walk, the way you move, the way your shoulders, shift, it's going to embody that piece. And so I think it's important for you to experiment, with things that you like, try stuff on. Like, I love, listen, if anybody has been online with me, like, like my one of my go-tos, it's my primary go-to is anthropology.
Anthropology. I love that. I've picked
Yeah.
it up.
And so for me, because I am very intentional with my time, I love being stylish according to me, but I don't want to spend a lot of time trying to figure out clothes, right? So that means I'm going to be unique to Michelle. It means I am then going to think about my curation of stores and designers and brands that I like. So it's going to be Anthropology. It's going to be for sneakers. I have some Nikes, but I've learned that that's really not my vibe. My vibe is more like Viha or Golas or something like that. Like, I'm more of a off the beaten path, so to speak. And if everybody
Mhm.
is wearing it, I probably don't want to wear it as much. I have a couple pieces that I do, but for me, I kind of stay away from trends and things like that just because I don't want to have to keep up with it. I want to know, do you like it and do you feel good? So when I'm going into a brand shoot, if I'm being photographed for headshots or whatever it is, I want to be able to look at that and say, you know what? Well, I want to use these photos in the next couple of years. Now, granted, you might have some novelty brand shoots that you do that it's like, I don't care. I'm just like, I'm going to do this thing. And if it's, for a period of time, that's cool too. But I like to see that I look comfortable in what it is. And it's like, yep, that's her. It's not like, what were you doing, girl?
Exactly. And it shows in your photographs. And I like that you say you don't go too far. Like, you're staying away from the trends because you wouldn't want to look back on photos and say, oh, I did this. It was so
Yeah.
trendy in that moment. And then you regret it. Um,
Yeah.
one
Yeah.
thing I keep, of course, timeless, and not always saying that means stick with black, whites, grays, and those things. No, you
Hmm.
can add your pop of color. What is that color for you? Like, what
Hmm.
color brings you alive? And then I'm always telling people, if it doesn't feel good on, like when you say try on, you have to try on
Hmm.
everything, because if it's
Hmm.
not comfortable, if it doesn't feel good on, if you feel self conscious, if you're worried about this, that, or the other, it's all gonna show in the photos.
Hmm.
So,
That's exactly right. And I think the other thing for me about not wanting to be trend, be on trend, and I love embracing it for other people who they love it, right? And that's their thing. I
that's
love
their
to
thing.
watch it. For me, the other part of it is that I'm not a minimalist, but I go back to this thing about being intentional. I just don't want to have a closet and a home that's consumed with a lot of things. And so I don't like bringing in a lot into my house. And so even right now with my closet, one of the things that I'm doing, I like systems and I like organization. And so I have like the clothes dividers that separate your shirts
Hmm.
from all that kind of stuff so I can see it there. And so I like living in that kind of intention. But at the same time, I just don't want to bring in so much because right now I know that I'm only wearing 20% of my closet. So, system wise, one of the things I'm doing, I'm preparing my sons to launch. They're going to be moving out probably by the beginning of next year, which I'm excited for them, but I'm excited for me too, because I will gain another bedroom. And so I'll get to turn my second closet out of my closet that it is right now into another closet. But what I'm looking to do in terms of a new system, because I'm only using really wearing 20% of my closet, I'm going to be bringing out each week 1 to 2 pieces that I'm not wearing. And it almost be like my challenge for that week. You have to incorporate this piece into your wardrobe for your rotation this week so that I can start using a healthy rotation so that I can start accessing that 80% of my closet that I'm not using.
That is so smart. I also recommend that when you're switching your like, your seasons and your wardrobes, take
Mm,
inventory, because
yes.
this is what you're wearing for fall and winter. Anything that you did not touch
Mm-hmm.
during that time before you put it back away, let's go ahead and take it out, because there's a
Okay.
reason. Let's talk about it. Why didn't you pull for this during that season? Does
Yeah.
it must not serve you any longer. So you could probably take out a few more than five when you're doing when you're editing.
You are probably right on spot.
I love that. I love that. I love how organized you are. That's a personal stylist. Like, we love that dream. Like, that's our
Oh,
dream for
good.
everyone. So
Oh,
I love
good.
that. The separators, it makes you think clearer as well. Like, when
Yeah.
you're going in to set yourself up for your day and
Hmm.
being able to see everything that you own and have is big
Yeah.
with how you know, think about like what you want to put on, what you haven't worn, where it
Hmm.
is. All of that matters.
Like I
Um,
know right now, and looking at through my closet, the way that it's organized, right? And then some of it I do have it grouped by colors. That's the goal, is to get the rest of the closet grouped by color within those categories. But I know right now I don't need another black skirt. I got a black skirt in every length, every material. Like, girl, you don't need another black skirt in this closet. Still might buy one, but I know I don't need
no,
another one.
no, you don't need, well, you got to take one out
You
before
said
you
no.
buy another. Well, you got to take one out. So I know we're running close. We're having such good conversation. Time is
Mhm.
also going, and I want to, honor your time. But what I have one more question that I want you to
Yeah.
let us know. Um, how do you see your personal style and like your brand image evolving in the future? Like, I know you have this plan for your
Mm,
closet, but
yeah.
as we think about our brands, our personal style, we grow and we evolve.
Hmm.
What does that look like for you in the future?
Like one of the things for me, so I just turned 49, so I'm about to hit 50, next
Sis,
year,
you
right?
look
And so, thank you,
amazing.
darling. This good old melanin is so good to us.
So
Um,
good.
and so one of the things that I want to get into is, so I'll keep my base, everything that I talked about, but I want to start experimenting and evolving more into more statement bold pieces and a lot of layering. Like I love the layered look. And the thing that I've learned about me is that just like other people, there are places in my life that I'll take a risk. And it's like, I just talked about, like, am I doing it right? That is the one area that that I'm like, you've got to grow this, Michelle. Like you can't, you got to put it on, like we talked about earlier. Like I want to start bringing in some chunkier pieces, some delicate pieces, and just playing with layering, to do that. Shoes is another area that I have the clothes, but I have been so just gun shy of buying shoes, right? And so I want to lean more into that space of bringing in shoes that are fun and comfortable. And, I love a good heel. I keep looking at the kitten heels and things like that, but I am a stiletto, like, or a 3 inch, like,
Yes.
but your foot changes and life
I
changes.
sacrifice comfort. I sacrifice comfort every time, okay?
I'm with you. I love a heel. So that's what I'm looking to evolve into, and like really doing some experimenting and taking more risk on that side of not trying to get it right. So, so if y'all see me in these streets like wearing some layered pieces, like keep encouraging me, keep going,
Yes.
Michelle.
I love it. And it's going to be hard at first because it is out of your comfort zone.
Hmm.
But the more you do it, you'll find like that formula that is really going to work to like your comfort level. And then you're going
Yeah.
to notice, like, okay, it's going to bring out another layer to your personal style.
Well, listen, I am believing that we gonna do this.
Yes, I can't wait to see it. One thing I will say, and we're about to go into our lightning round just to have a little
Mm.
fun.
Mm-hmm.
I love about your day to day is your self care,
Mm-hmm.
but also like how you prioritize your health and wellness. And so, like your
Yeah.
looks are cute, but you really do show
Thank
up cute to the
you.
gym. And even as a personal stylist, I recently prioritized my health and wellness. It's a big non-negotiable in my day to
Mm-hmm.
day. But I told myself at the beginning of the year, until you prioritize it and you're consistent, I wouldn't let myself buy any more workout clothes because I was
Right.
buying workout clothes just to, be cute in. But I've noticed, so I purged a lot of things just because of my weight change. And now I'm trying to find my cute gym in between look.
Uh-huh.
And I'm
Uh-huh.
like, Michelle be real cute at the gym.
Listen, I like to enjoy what it is, but but really quickly to that thing about self-care, we know it, but it's more of the practice of being consistent, the practice of it. And so for me, it's a part of my vision playbook in that whenever I'm coaching people through their vision playbooks, it is self-care is the one role that it is non-negotiable every week. And so it's a part of my planning life that it's like, you got to do this. And it's on my calendar, self care. The other piece of it is that it's important for me, and I've learned this over time, especially for me as a mom, right? Is I want my children to see me prioritizing self-care. My sons for themselves, but for them as they get partners, and then my daughter as well, who's 13. So my sons are 25 and 23. And one of the things that I've appreciated is that my sons, they have friends who follow me, and my daughter has friends who follow me online too. So sometimes it's like trying to be aware, but it's
Yes,
like, ugh,
the
but
happy
it is what
medium.
it is, right? And I'm still going to be who I am online, but I do have that awareness. But one of the things that I have an appreciation for is when my sons or my daughter, but especially lately when my sons have said, yeah, such and such saw, they online watching you and they like, your mom out here living her life. That's important to me because yes, I'm a mother. That's just one role that I carry. I want them to understand for themselves and their partners is that that is just one facet of who you are. That yes, I am your mother, and that is a priority for me. But I am also out here living my life in my professional space as a single woman that's dating, as a person that has family and friends. It's my self care. So, yes, I'm going to take care of you guys. I'm going to make sure you got food. But as I say from baby boy, I say it online sometimes too. He said, Mama got to have a life too. And Mama has a life. And I enjoy that life. So that part of self care and prioritizing, it's for me primarily, but it's also to share with them that it is important that I love you all, but I also have a life and I want you to mirror that for yourselves as well as if you choose.
I love that, Michelle. Um, it's so important because sometimes people say, Mo, you make it look so easy because I take care of myself. I'm like,
Hmm.
it's not easy by any means, but what makes it easy is that I'm taking care of myself, that I'm choosing to
Hmm.
take those moments that I am like making working out like a non-negotiable in my schedule, even though I have work, I have school, I have all the things, but that's the
Hmm.
only way it becomes
Hmm.
easy is because I'm
Hmm.
taking care of me. So I love
Yep.
that. And
I
yes, when
love
they
that for
see,
you.
yes, mama has a life, and
That's
yes,
right.
she is living her best life. Okay.
That's right.
um, before we get in the lightning round, what else would you like to share with our listeners about you, about your
Mhm.
brand, about your company? Share that
Yeah.
info.
Yeah, thank you for even the opportunity. So, like others, people just don't talk about it. I have a dual life, so to speak, when it comes to the business. So I do things in the corporate space, but I also, on the weekends and the evenings, run my business, right? And so the business, I like to say, the corporate work is important, but the business is my legacy work. The business is what I believe God put me here for, the work that I'm doing that's going to outlive me. And so the name of that business is Dreams Unleashed. And basically, in a nutshell, I help women to discover, define, and confidently live out their God given dreams. While women is my primary, as I have gone on to speak at corporations and just other places, we are inclusive of men as well. There is a faith component to it, but also when I speak in corporate settings, sometimes if I don't share as much on the faith side of it so that we can be inclusive. But at the end of the day, my purpose and the reason why I believe God has me here basically is to help people get from here to there. What's the dream? What do you want? Where are you now? How can I empower you to get there? And so the way that I go about doing that, as we talked about before very briefly, is through coaching, one-on-one coaching, group coaching, workshops, keynote speaking, and then our signature vision playbook, which is if you've ever done a vision board, they are good. But where vision boards fall short is on strategy. And so with vision boards, you're kind of putting everything all on one large poster board. But as women, especially, we don't live like that. We live in more of a compartmentalized space where we really have different roles. So my vision for my role as a mother is very different from my role as a lover or in wealth building or keeper of my home or my self-care or God's daughter. And so it is an accordion style book that there are on the front side of it are all the pictures that you would normally put on a vision board, but they are compartmentalized. Each panel represents a different role, but on the back, that's where the magic is. That is putting your vision statement and how you're going to get from where you are to where you want to be and who's going to hold you accountable. And so that's our signature product that nobody else really carries. And that is how I've been living my life, is with that vision playbook. And so we are on the cusp of ending out this year. But just because, people typically do vision boards at the beginning of the year, you can do a vision board at any time. You can do it. A great time is when you are getting ready to start your birthday month or whatever. But at any given time, you can start a vision board. And so that is what I do with Dreams Unleashed. I love this work and I'm grateful that God's entrusted me to actually carry this vision out.
I love that, and it's a perfect gift for now because this will be airing before the new year. So, like you
Oh,
said,
perfect.
start, yeah. So even though, like, we're
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the year, you can start a vision board whenever, but
Mm-hmm.
especially people are really planning for the top of the year, so that would be something to.
It
I'll make
is.
sure to include the link and everything in the show notes and to share as well, so they have a direct link to where to purchase it.
Beautiful.
Um,
Thank you.
Thank you. But let's get into some fun questions just to close us
Mm-hmm.
out.
Yes.
I want you to share what's your most recent favorite read?
Oh, okay. So I typically read more than one book at one time, but the one that I'm really loving is Sell It Like Sirhan by Ryan Serhant. So if you watch Owning Manhattan and all the shows, the New York,
Yes,
shows, that book is really, really good because he's hitting on he's a risk taker. And so I want to be more of a more of a risk taker.
I love that. And you're going to start by layering. So I just want
Hello. Say that again. Bring that full circle for us.
her risk is going to be layering. That's her
That's
style gum
right.
for the new year.
That's right.
Uh, is there a sitcom or a reality show you enjoy or just gather like fashion inspiration from?
Hmm. My favorite I guess they're not going to renew it, but Run the World that was on Stars.
Oh no, they're not renewing?
I don't know. I felt like they said they were, but I haven't seen anything. But I loved the style and the fashion on Run the World. And one of the things that I discovered about the stylists, the two women who are stylists from there, is that they also worked on Sex in the City and Devil Wears Prada, which
Hmm.
those both, of course you're going to say, I was like, I don't
Yes,
want to say Sex in the City. I could, but that's the obvious. But Run the World, like Brescia and some of the lingerie pieces they would pull and some of the dresses and the suits. And it was like, just keep giving it to me. So
exactly.
I love the style on there.
They did a really good job, especially with the one being a boutique owner and everything.
Yes.
Yeah, it was very, very well done.
It was.
I hope they renew. We need all of that TV.
Nope.
So when it comes to food, do you prefer trying new adventurous dishes, or are you sticking to like familiar comfort meals?
I am a girl in the middle. If you think about Janelle Monáe's song, what is it? Like that, whatever the ones like that. And she's like a little sexy, a little cool, right? I am that person that I'm some of this, but I'm some of that in life. And so it's like I like my regular comfort food. Like I'm a Southern chick, but I will venture out if I can find an element that kind of takes it. So if it's like I don't know, something that just puts a little spin on it, I'll try it. So
Okay.
I'm
Yes.
I'm trying
We
now. I
need to
will
move the word risk into your into all the categories.
now. I will say this. I got as I said, keep it straight. The as over the course of time, especially in my dating life, you go out to more dinners and stuff like that, and so I have enjoyed that. Is that going out? People introduce you to more things, and my girlfriends do too. And so one of my girlfriends, in fact, Sharnika, she is a foodie. You know Sharnika, right?
Yes,
And
I
so,
love her.
Sharnika, I'm always going to try something new. I just tried something new with her this past week that I was like, I like that.
What was
So,
it?
so it was we went to Fiola Mari, and the salad, they did not have the regular salad that I thought I was going to order again. And it was like a play on a Caesar, and it was like a basil Caesar, but it had the runny egg on it. And so when they brought hers out, I was like, oh, that's hers. That's not going to be mine. Then they brought me the same thing. When I tell you, she did not lie. That salad was a 20 out of 10.
Yes.
It was like the egg and everything. But because I'm such a visual eater, it was like, but that salad was incredible.
Okay. Do you like steak or do you
I
eat steak?
do. I just have to
Have you
stay
ever
away from it, but I love steak.
have you ever had beef tartare?
No, don't play with me. Don't.
Okay. So we're gonna when I'm back in DC or DMV, we're gonna have a dinner date because now
You see my face.
I'm
I'm not
I
ready.
am
I'm
ready
not
to
ready,
take you
mommy.
and all the we're taking all the risks with you. I'm ready. I'm inviting Sharnika too.
Okay, I'm here for it. I'm here for it.
Okay, and we can close it out. Describe your personal style in one word. I know it's hard. You gave us three, but
Ooh.
sum it up in one word.
I'll
Or
say
the
approachable. I'll
okay.
stick with the approachable. Yeah, that it's approachable, that it feels good for me and I like leaning in, and it helps other people to lean into me because I love vulnerability and transparency and authenticity in life. And so I feel like that word approachable helps me to embody that and invite people into my life, as well. And for me to feel good about it.
I love that.
Thank you.
Michelle, this has been amazing.
Well,
Thank
thank you.
you.
You're amazing. Please.
Thanks for listening to Style Studio Conversations podcast. Be sure to subscribe, share, and leave a review. With Style, Monique Ross.